This public hearing is being convened pursuant to section 8.9.
There's our little space right here.
Yes. There's more traffic than
Can't keep track
Of the Local Government Act in order to consider the proposed Village of Cache Creek zoning amendment bylaw number 808, 2019. At this public hearing, the public will be allowed to make presentations to council. All persons present who believe their interest in property is affected by the proposed bylaw shall be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard or to present written submissions respecting matters contained in the proposed bylaw. We will first hear from those persons that have requested in writing to appear before council to address this issue. We will then ask the general public present if there is any person who wishes to speak on the proposed bylaw. Members of council may, if they wish, ask questions of you following your presentation. However, the main function of council members this evening is to listen to the views of the public. It is not the function of council at this public hearing to debate the merits of the proposed bylaw with individual citizens. Everyone shall be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard at this meeting. No one will be or should feel discouraged or prevented from making their views heard. Any written submissions received prior to 4 p.m. Monday, December 9th, 2019 will be read to the hearing in its entirety. To maintain order during the hearing and ensure everyone has a reasonable opportunity to be heard, the following rules of procedures have been established for public hearings. Only the Village of Cache Creek zoning amendment bylaw number 808, 2019 is being considered at this meeting. Each speaker will be permitted to address the hearing twice. Your initial presentation will not be limited, providing your comments are relevant to the issues at hand and the hearing is not being obstructed. After each person who wishes to speak has done so, a second opportunity to speak will be allowed. However, each speaker will be limited to 10 minutes. If further hearings are required, we will reconvene additional hearings until each person has an opportunity to be heard. To begin your presentation, please state your name for the record. Your name and comments will be recorded in the minutes of this meeting and any reports generated from this meeting. Please observe these rules, and if you have any concerns with the manner in which the hearing is conducted, please direct your comments to the chair. So firstly, we have the proponent of BC Limited, numbers also, Thomas and Chris.
Yes.
And I'd struggle with the last name on one of them for sure.
Journus.
Thank you. And
Con.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So the floor is yours,
Oh,
if you wish.
well, we came this evening mainly to answer questions and listen to concerns that people may have. I think what I'd like to originally just say is that we put some thought into the design. I think that the layout of the subdivision is such that it provides a bit of variety and some variety and interest to the piece of property. Our goal is to provide landscape boulevards on either side of the roads. We do intend to register a building scheme for the property, and we do intend to enter into a marketing agreement with a modular home provider that we are quite happy with. He's done subdivisions in the Kamloops area that have been well received amongst residents there. So our goal is to actually extend Woodburn and Stage, in a manner that will actually improve, it will add to the neighborhood rather than.
Greenford. I'll have our CEO do the written statements that we received.
We've only received one written submission. from Mr. and Mrs. Johnson at 1668 Woodburn Drive, Cache Creek, BC, to the concerns. In response to the proposed changes to Lot A, District Lot 556, and KAP 26691. Zoning 4 is considered the highest density residential. We are concerned about the strain this will place on our village's infrastructure, such as water and sewer, and the effect on the neighborhood from the increased traffic and noise from such a densely populated rental mobile home park in an area zoned for residential R1. It is, in our opinion, adding a mobile home park in a residential area will greatly decrease land and home values. It is our opinion that it should remain zoned as R1 for permanent structures only, such as houses and modular homes, where the homeowner owns the lot. It should also be taken into consideration that area have all cables set underground, including electrical, street lamps set in place, and sidewalks in order to provide greater safety and for the area to remain in sync with the rest of the neighborhood. Also, proper fire protection should be in place with fire hydrants and fire barriers. Affordable, well-constructed homes are badly needed in the community to help meet the demands of the influx of employees at our ever-expanding inland port. When people own their own home and land, they are more likely to remain as members of the community for many years. Cache Creek already has 4 mobile home parks and does not need more. Therefore, we oppose the change. Sincerely, Rod and Odile Johnson. May I make a comment? First of all, this is not a mobile home park. It is a mobile home subdivision. There is a difference. A mobile home park is subject to our mobile home park bylaw. A mobile home subdivision is similar to what you might see in Woodburn Port, in that there are permanent structures there, and it is not a mobile home park because in this particular case, although I'll let the developers correct me if I'm wrong, the people there will own their own home. The land, however, will be strata, so that they have better control over the appearance of the entire parcel, the entire development. I'll go on to concerns regarding water, sewer, and fire protection. Those are not dealt with at the zoning amendment stage. If this amendment goes through, the next step is to apply for what's called preliminary layout approval. One of my many hats with the village is approving officer. The approving officer makes sure that the water, the sewer, the streets and roads and sidewalks, street lighting, fire protection, and anything else to do with the infrastructure meets our current codes. So I would be checking with our public works crew, our fire chief, our engineers, to make sure that everything meets standards. Okay, that was all I wanted to mention.
Thank you. So we'll move on to any verbal submissions, if any.
We've only been here for about a year.
If you could state your name.
Oh, my name is Marilyn Alfred, and we've only been here for about a year, but apparently before we moved in, our house had been flooded. Is that going to be looked after?
What's your address?
6055.
Woodburn.
What did he ask you?
I'm
I just asked him about.
not sure how this relates to a zoning amendment.
Well,
Could you maybe clarify? I'm not sure.
well, what will they do to prevent our house from flooding again? I mean, they have to do.
Well, they'll have to do something to keep the rest of the homes, so I'm just wondering.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, Reg can.
Reg has got all the
Okay.
pictures of it.
Yeah.
My name is Reg Harpen. Been there 11 years, and I got some picture right at the end of your mother house there. Twice from the monsoon with the snow melting really fast. Was behind Dean Gaynor house.
And their
It's like a little lake, and the water went right in their house. The previous owner built a wall with concrete block, which made the situation worse. So,
If I could just comment, any work we do on the site will be designed by a professional engineer. and we will have to put a storm.
Can you turn around?
Sorry, we will have to put a stormwater management plan in place.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that engineer will address.
So like right at the end of the road, there need to be a culvert.
So basically,
Because the water comes from the cooling the spring.
Well, we won't address anything that is not on our property, but any water that is generated on our property will be tended to in a better manner.
No, I understand, but the water is generated from this cooler here, which is right at the end of his mother place. It's like a little stream, and I got the picture to prove it.
Well,
Nobody know about this.
I'll tell you one thing, we're not interested in developing a piece of property that's gonna be subject to a coulee,
But
so
that's
our
gonna be,
engineers
come on to
will,
their attention,
our engineers will.
because I got a picture to prove it.
I'd be more than happy to take a look at your picture.
Right, you
I
know,
don't have it, but I
Okay,
could,
no, if you wanted to stop in at the office
Yeah.
sometime this
Yeah.
week, I'd be happy to take a look at it.
okay.
My own thinking, I'm not an engineer, but
No,
I have
I know,
dealt with
but
a number of
that's
these
why-
kind of projects. I just wanted to say that when you have a street and road development like this, you have stormwater. There's no stormwater there right now, so everything just goes across the land. Right now, once this subdivision is in place, there will be streets and roads with a storm sewer system.
So
So
storm
it will
that's
catch
needed,
that
like
water
a
before it
culvert
gets
involved.
past that property, or,
Yeah.
you know, in most situations, when we have a
And
catastrophic.
that's why they're out
stream.
and flooded twice.
There's not a lot we can do about Mother Nature, but we
No, I
can
know,
do our
I know.
best to reduce it.
yeah, we can try, yeah, you can try to do
We just
that.
wanted to address it, just so that you know that what's
Yeah.
happening.
Our subdivision will have manholes and,
We catch all the water into this sewer easement here, and it comes into this easement and then out.
Yeah.
So all the water will be going into the roads will have catch basins, pick up all the overland water, take it to this, stormwater easement that comes through here,
You did.
and takes it out.
Like,
At the end of
okay.
this, how big is this development gonna be?
59.
For results.
Oh, it's 59 units, 'cause my wife was the one who wrote that letter.
Excuse me, we'd like to have your name before you.
Oh, my wife's not here, Rod O'Deal Johnson.
I see, okay.
The wife was the letter writer.
I see, okay.
So we're very concerned about the excess traffic.
There's basically one easement that comes through here for stormwater, and all the water will be collected.
And at the end of this, it will only be a maximum of 59 units.
59 lots, yes.
And they're gonna put a storm
Okay.
drain in there.
How many
And it will
buildings?
be zoned,
Some rain on the water.
there will be no,
Excuse me,
Huh?
excuse me.
think about
before,
75.
Please keep the background.
75 or
noise
80.
down, so here's the
I
speakers.
wonder where they're gonna put all that
Excuse me,
traffic.
Right
we
by
need to be
your
able to hear the
front door.
speakers. Thank you.
now, another concern is because it's zoned mobile home, at the end, if somebody comes up to you, well, I have a brand new single wide that I really wanna go in and there's not gonna be any, well, okay, we'll make an exception for you or anything. It will be modulars, period.
Our plan is to engage and contract with a modular home provider. And that modular home provider will sell homes that will be placed on our lots.
That's what we're gonna build, is it?
Okay, so it won't be, what you see down at Sage and Sands or something. Not that I'm
No,
against
if
anybody
you-
at Sage and
If you
Sands.
look at pages 2 and 3 of what I've sent you, this is the intent of the subdivision.
Okay.
And as the developers pointed out, there will be a building scheme. That building scheme will be registered on title. They won't be able to put anything other than what is.
Nobody will come up and say, go sneak one in or, okay,
That won't happen.
that kind of thing.
That'll be stopped at the building permit stage.
And 59 units, I thought it was gonna be like 150 or something. So we're not gonna be worried about excess traffic or,
Oh, yes, we will.
There will be increased traffic, there's no two ways about it.
I mean, double the
But
unit.
this isn't coming all at once either, it'll be a phased
Oh,
development.
yeah, this will take years to.
Yes.
Oh,
You
geez.
see, I mean, at the end of this, you
No.
can see an extra 120 cars coming up and down that hill there. 2 cars per house.
That's possible, yes.
That's. Okay, I'm just concerned, that's all.
We're all concerned.
And your name, please?
Gwen Bradenberg. What I'd like to know is, are these lots going to be big enough that it's going to be basically like a double wide size lot? Like, because where I live beside us, there was two lots, well, there were supposed to be two double wide lots, well, they put a double wide on the one lot, and you can squeak past each side of the house, that's all it is. So, it should have been single wides, but anyway, the lots, these are gonna be, it's gonna be like double wide sides, it's not gonna be single wide,
Our,
double wide.
our intent is to be putting
That one is
20
still free
20-foot wide.
next to them.
Okay.
On 50-foot lots.
Okay.
Yes.
These are
Okay.
50-foot
So they'll have
lots.
room
Yeah,
for
no,
driveways,
It's just that I,
garages if
it's like I
people
said, we've
choose.
got a couple in our area there that the house is here and the lot is like there. So,
Yeah,
there's-
no,
you
we're-
know, they,
We've provided large lots, just with the understanding that people may wanna put garages in
Yeah.
down the road and that kind of thing, so it's a 20-foot wide unit that's gonna fit on a 50-foot lot. So there'll be lots of,
there'll be lots of
Circulation
space,
space
yeah, and will be the
and-
covers all squished
Yeah.
in, or there's gonna be hard
So
to.
yeah, and then there's gonna be common landscaping along the boulevards and the front yards.
Yeah.
That will be taken care of through the strata, so it'll be a nice looking
But
subdivision.
it definitely is gonna be like a single wide
No,
here,
but
and a
he's
double
talking
wide
about
there,
the
and
house.
whatever. Okay.
Yeah,
That's what I want.
yeah. Yeah, you
How are these gonna be managed? I mean, like, you're not gonna find people with 10 or 5 or 6 dead vehicles in the front yard or something, will you?
Well,
Yeah,
they'll
Well,
be
that
managed-
happens.
They'll be managed
It
the same
happens.
way
I know.
that Stage
Yeah, yeah.
and
Can we-
Woodburn are managed.
Let him answer, please.
Yeah, they'll be managed the same way that Stage and Woodburn would be managed. If that's the case, you would call your bylaw officer and they would, I mean, it's no different.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be negative or anything, but I just wanna get these kind of thoughts there.
For sure.
That's why we're here.
We're here.
That's what we're doing.
Because you do see in trailer parks where 5 or 6 dead vehicles are sitting in front of a vehicle.
Yeah, but not only in the trailer park.
Trailer park,
Lots of modular home.
Totally different.
Yeah, hopefully.
Is it?
Okay.
There's a couple people out there.
Well, I hope so. Hope so.
There's that and there's this
The
one.
traffic's gonna be worse than
That's what I think so too, the traffic.
I'd be worried about the traffic.
Because are
This
they
is hearing
gonna go,
is up.
Excuse
are
me,
they
people?
gonna go straight down? Sorry.
I'm Joyce Deering. With the new rezoning, our property and Ivy's and a couple of more down that way, we're gonna be included in it. Now, I keep hearing the word strata. I don't like that. We're not gonna be included in that, right?
Those are-
No.
No,
No,
Okay.
because we're not
But you know,
strong.
with the, you never
You
know.
bought it, you own it, and their land.
The rezoning is only, applies to that, to the parcel, I'm using a smaller version here, maybe I should use a bigger one. Okay, so this is Stage Road, the very end of Stage Road. This is the big empty lot. The campground is down here, this is Woodburn Court here. What we're talking about tonight is just that parcel there. Nobody else will be affected.
I'm looking forward to having a road straight through from where we are.
Well,
so
they
we
can put the
get
road
out.
straight through from the gates.
All your fees, they get such a-
Everything's down and around and down.
We get that all the time. And for anybody that's worried about it being a trailer park, I don't believe it's gonna be a trailer park. We live in modular homes and there's no problem. Right?
Yeah, the modular homes around us are fine.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's the way it's gonna be.
Now, when, I haven't looked at this, would there be an option of people to buy these lots too, or it'll be strictly pad rent type thing?
At this time, our proposal, our business model is for us to retain the land and rent it, and for
Okay.
people to purchase their homes.
Okay.
So there is ownership in that we are not purchasing homes and renting the homes to people. People will be purchasing their new modular home and placing it on a piece of property. So I don't think people are gonna have significant investments in the property. And, you know, we're trying to bring an affordable housing option to the village of Cache Creek. And this, in our mind, is the best way of doing it.
So, what we can do is state your name, then give us your statement, your submission, and your questions, and then perhaps we won't get this back and forth that we're having right now. So if we could, go ahead, sir.
Jim McGregor, I live on Stage Road. what do we do? All this, now you got these 59 units you say going in here. We got one way in and one way out on Stage Road. We got all that traffic now. We moved here because we, up the end of Stage Road where we had no traffic. 3 years ago. So what are they gonna do about that? You can't slow them down now. They're coming up to the end, the pavement, slamming on the brakes, going off onto the dirt. You know, throwing their dogs out.
You can see the developers taking that next step and put cul-de-sacs in. That's one way of slowing people.
You still got Stage Road there.
Jump out. Yeah.
I talked to him before about putting a speed bump in there, and he said he can't do it.
Yeah, that speed bump would be taken out the first time the plow truck went by.
Yeah, that's right.
And he dug it down.
Oh, you need a speed dip or a
Yeah.
rumble strip kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then they fill up with ice and snow and you can't feel it in the winter.
What do we get snow here for 2-3 days?
When you care.
Volunteer for a snow angel, you'll find out how much snow there is.
Well, our biggest concern is traffic.
So it's always a
Yeah.
concern.
Yeah.
The traffic isn't concerns the people behind the wheel.
Yeah,
that are
did
concerned.
anybody say about the sectors, are they going up?
I've got that.
Any other submissions? Yes, ma'am.
Donna Lancaster, I was concerned about the traffic also, but I wondered if Woodburn Drive was going to be, like, onto Stage Road, make a loop around? Is that what's gonna happen?
It's connected.
It's
Yes.
going to be
Yeah,
connected?
that's right.
Donna, did you get one of these?
Okay,
Yeah.
so it is.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So won't that increase the noise and also, I find that I've got that now, thank you. The infrastructure, I was concerned about the water, because right now we have a real good supply of water. Will we be cut back in the summertime, which we haven't never, and we've been here about 9 years. So that's a concern of mine. And also, no, I think everything else was the traffic I was worried about, but that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I figured who passes by that it's not. Why can't they just, you know? Yeah.
Anybody else?
Stage Road.
Is there a chance?
Yeah.
Not complaint,
And then they
but
come
there's traffic
here.
going up
So
Stage Road.
they're
I'm
gonna-
lucky, I live on
They're gonna
Cul-de-sac
turn
all
and
day.
join.
Where we get the traffic, but
And then,
is there
all
a
right.
chance that there's could be not necessarily a gated community, but some kind of a deterrent
Yeah,
for
it's too
people
much
who go up and
noise.
down there, like, I don't know, like I don't know what the right word is, not a safety gate, but you know, something that,
Traffic calming?
something that would make people not go screaming down Stage Roads as far as they can go and around.
You know, I'm not sure what to say about this whole thing. I can't control how quickly someone decides to drive along the street. And as far as, I mean, I appreciate that the concept is going to add 59 lots and there will be increased traffic, but I think in any community where you experience growth, these are just growth. And I mean, I can't really put gates in. I think it makes sense for Woodburn and Stage Road to connect. We can't enforce people to only leave one exit. I think people just need to live together, and if there's traffic issues, then I'm assuming
I
we would
just thought it was
contact
maybe something that would help us.
Well, there is,
I'm just saying,
if you look at a city road, it's 60 feet wide.
These are narrower roads, so there will be a
So there's
natural.
gonna be a narrowing, because a city road's only 60 feet wide, and our strata road's quite a bit narrower. So our strata roads are, it's gonna be about 20, the actual road width's about 25 feet wide, so there'll definitely be a reduction in the size of the road. So people will definitely have to, the road will narrow down and taper in. So that will force people to slow down, because it won't be as big a road and as much room for them.
So there's not gonna be one, like, you're not gonna have the 2 lanes like we have on Stage Road?
No,
now?
there's two lanes.
Yeah.
It's just a much narrower.
It's just a
Oh,
narrow,
I see.
it's not a city spec, city specs are always much larger.
They have
And
to be,
Stage Road is a little extra because it is an arterial road. It feeds a lot of side streets.
I'm Norm Bravender. I see here on what you're showing is that you have Road A and then Woodburn Drive. Now, will there be 2 entrances and 2 exits to this place?
Yep.
Is that the way I read it?
Yes, somebody could potentially drive in Woodburn Drive, then they could come up Road C, take a left on Road A, and leave on Stage Road.
So you, so it's like a circle?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't know about you other people on cul-de-sacs, we have a heck of a time with people turning on the Woodburn Drive and finding out they're on a dead-end street. And our cul-de-sac becomes a detour.
Oh, so now I think people would come through and they would drive through this subdivision and then
We
exit
will
on
get
Stage
them.
Unfortunately, Google Maps thinks that the route to the campsite is.
I know.
Really? Come down the trail.
Cross that bridge.
Rental RVs.
So all RVs getting there.
Yeah.
More than once.
I've had more than one German tourist
does this property cover that, end of Stage Road right across, or does
I
it
don't
turn
know
off?
who it is. The guy who bought it.
Like the road that's there now, the gravel road,
Yes.
does this property take that gravel
He said
road
he needed a bigger place.
when it comes off of Stage Road?
Yes, it does, continues
He
on.
needed a
I'm not sure
bigger
how far it
I
follows
think
that
that's
gravel.
I
right.
don't know how he sold it to somebody else.
Sorry,
connect with that.
And then we've allowed, because there is a road there, so we've allowed to connect to the,
But going down
on the
south.
next parcel.
Right, but isn't there a thing in DC, there must be 2 exits, extending over so many population, people?
I don't think so.
I looked it up and find out.
No, you think,
Again,
Jerry?
for
Jerry?
questions that particular, that will be addressed at preliminary layout approval.
over here.
Anything to do with traffic and infrastructure.
Oh, right here, there's
that's-
Woodburn Drive. This is
I mean,
you over here and this.
Yeah,
We're discussing it
yeah.
tonight anyway, but
So
really
it's
what we're
gonna
here
loop right
to
around
really
here,
decide
right
on
around
is
here,
whether
back on the stage road.
Yeah, but we
support
still
for
see the
changing it from
traffic.
Oh,
R1.
right,
For sure, yeah.
okay.
And that's pretty much it.
and. we'll be
Infrastructure,
looking
that's
into
another
the
step
backyard.
further down the road.
He's looking at you.
I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But these 2 gentlemen don't live in Cache Creek.
True.
They're just here to
I
take
do.
money out of Cache Creek.
I do live here.
Actually, we're here to bring money into cash.
They live in the house, yeah.
Hey, Rod Johnson again. Now, I wanna, how much of an inconvenience or what is advantage to the homeowners to have this in here? How much of an inconvenience is this gonna be to us, or what is an advantage to us to have this here? One or the other, I mean,
What are you referring to?
this development, how much of an inconvenience is it gonna be to us to have it here?
At some point, where you live now, and other members that are citizens, that had to be developed. So you became an inconvenience, if what you're saying is a convenience, you became an inconvenience to somebody else prior. This is part of the growth process. We need growth in our community to survive, or we'll end up as a ward of the regional district. It's that simple. If you wanted to lose our incorporation and move to becoming a regional district entity, that's where we're heading. Plain and simple. We have to have growth.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
True, too.
Hey, how much is this gonna affect our taxes now? Are they gonna go up higher?
If anything, taxes could end up coming down because we have a bigger tax base.
Oh, that's
More people
good.
paying
But
taxes.
you still got all this water supply, all this sewer, the road maintenance, everything, all that,
Yeah,
so
true.
taxes have to go up.
There's no road maintenance on the Strata Road.
Yeah,
That
that's
becomes the cost of the Strata.
They would
Yes.
cover that.
Okay.
And my dumb guy math says that we're adding about 12% to your housing stock, which I think would have a positive impact on your property tax base.
So there's a convenience to us homeowners.
There definitely is, yeah, I believe there is.
Okay, that's what I meant to ask.
Any further? Yes, sir.
Yeah, my name's Andrew Cutledge. I've been in the area for 2007. I actually live in Ashcroft. We're looking at downsides. Before we moved to the area, we lived in Deer Park Estates in Oliver, which was similar to what this gentleman's proposing here. And I tell you, it was really, really well maintained.
Most
So I'd
stratas
say
are-
look at the downsides here and look at one of these here. I for it.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll welcome you.
Don't drive too fast.
Yeah, I'm sure you've done that.
My name is Dwayne Smith, I've lived in Cache Creek 52 years. I just want to know how fast you're going to develop this.
That'll depend on how quickly people want to move to Cache Creek. We've said somewhere between 6 and 10 years. We're not sure what the absorption rate will be. We'll do it
Maybe
very-
are you going to start renting it out? Those lots first?
We'll have to sit down with our engineer and decide which way is the best way to phase that produces the least amount of inconvenience.
No,
for-
I didn't think so. We said that.
Oh, yeah, we'll start from either
We'll start from one end.
Takes
and
time.
we'll
One road
work
or
our
the
way
other,
through.
right?
Yes.
And dust control when you've got the bulldozers going?
Yes, we'll have to do that as part of our building permit, I would imagine.
I just have two little questions.
Yeah.
First off, are they gonna have somebody that's on site all the time that's gonna kinda keep things looking tidy and neat, or they're just gonna be, you move in and that's it, or,
No, I think what will happen, just like with any strata, is once it's formed, people will have some say in the matter, and they can decide whether they want to mow their front lawns on their own, or whether they would like somebody to come in and do that. As mentioned before, our goal is to retain the property, so we are motivated to keep it in
cause you just
a
don't want
nice
something that's
fashion.
gonna move in there and it's gonna go with this guy.
There's no advantage, there's no advantage to us to create a subdivision that people don't want to live in, because then they don't buy homes.
If you got an age
Because I mean,
limit
the
on,
area we are up there at the end of State Road, all the properties are maintained beautifully.
Right.
You know, there's nobody that's ashamed to live there because they're looked after, but if somebody moves in here and then this guy, you know, he doesn't look after it, and this one does, and then, you know, you just want somebody who's gonna keep the property values up.
You're all exactly right. I don't know whether you get into Kamloops regularly. Chris and I have done 200 or 300 units in Kamloops, many Bearland stratas. They're all beautifully maintained, and
It's the pride of the people.
and we
That's it.
we've been doing this a long time. We take pride in what we do, and I think in our design, we've tried to come forward with a plan that is not just a cookie cutter subdivision. We've tried to create some variation with some cul-de-sacs and some boulevards and that sort of thing. So, I think this attempt is to be part of your community and to create a project that we can all be happy with. Yeah.
you got an age limit on the trailers, how old they can be, or they ought to be brand new?
They will be brand new.
They're all gonna be brand new.
Okay, that's good.
Oh, that's good news.
Is there an age limit on the people living there?
This we haven't discussed yet.
It's not an adult park.
If you got the money, you're moving.
That means
It
more.
it would not make sense, I don't think, to create an adult-based park when you have young people looking for affordable housing to fill jobs.
Yeah, well, children have a chance
And
to
how
play.
about school? Is their schools big enough to handle all these kids? Okay, just asking.
We didn't know this was gonna happen, you know, but.
Any further?
No, not for me.
Say we haven't had a subdivision developed in our community since early 80s, 1980s.
Except for Lopez Creek.
Lopez Creek.
Lopez Creek Estates.
That doesn't count. Since back to my previous statement, early 80s, and I know we're looking forward to development and growth, and I knew the prospects
Yeah.
of you being successful at what you do.
Yeah.
So thank you for everyone showing up tonight and your comments. And we're gonna go to the last three meetings, correct?
Closing statement.
Yep, thank you. Before closing this hearing, I'll call 3 times for any further speakers on any of the matters contained in the proposed bylaw.
Let's see, let's take a long time.
Down the line. Chuck Watton, I live on Woodburn.
At Woodburn Court, we have a problem with snow already in the cul-de-sac. I see 2 cul-de-sacs in this thing. Where are you gonna put the snow?
Well, this is, as
No,
Tom
we
said,
put it away.
we'll be responsible for everything that's on our property. This is not a city road, so we will have to take the snow and deal with it. That will be our issues.
Okay.
It won't fall on the city or the taxpayer. This is, all the snow removal will be subject to strata fees contained within our park.
You'll dump truck it out of there,
Yeah.
okay.
How much are the strata
Well, we're
fees?
looking at our own.
I'm not sure yet.
Anything further?
I don't know.
Before closing this hearing, I'm going to call 3 times for any further speakers on any of the matters contained in the proposed bylaw. For the first time, is there anyone who wishes to make any further representations? For a second time, is there anyone who wishes to make any further representations? For the third and final time, is there anyone who wishes to make any further representations?
Oh, we got one.
I think Cash Creek has needed expansion for a long time.
I'm sorry, just catch me.
North Bradley.
Whole area, not just Cash.
And, we've all seen businesses that have gone down the tubes ever since they put the coke in, and I think expansion is a great idea. As long as it's well meaned and well maintained. And done properly.
Do you like Crash Creek?
Do you? Me too. I don't believe.
Thank you. There being no further speakers, I declare the public hearing closed.
You know, you put so much money in the house and then all of a sudden, poof.
Just want to make, we'll carry on with the meeting if we can. One comment is last year, all municipalities across Canada went back to regional district because they could not afford their, to operate as municipalities anymore. That is a fact that we have to deal with. So, we embrace growth in both our light industrial sector, for sure, business sector, and our residential sector. And they all complement each other, because if you don't have affordable housing, you don't have light industry, you don't have businesses, and you don't have people moving in your community to support the whole concept of growing as a community. So having said that, is there any further questions for both these gentlemen regarding the subdivision? Or if you have any questions of us as a collective council?
Nope, look, we came here today, to basically answer questions for you.
Well, will you have a property manager? Is that how you want to?
We're early days, we wanted to get this, taken care of, to know whether we even have a project to start thinking about. And yeah.
There's no further questions on behalf. Not until we get to the next phase, and then we can discuss the finer aspects of it if we need to. Further questions? Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Do you want us to leave these here for you guys?
That would be nice.
Then if people come in, you can.
They would be useful.
Perfect. All right, take care.
Thank you very much. Drive
Thanks very
carefully.
much.
Merry
Good trip.
Christmas.
Thank you.
Merry
Have a good
Christmas.
travel.
Yeah, you bet.
Yes,
Take care.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Hi, Barbara. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm good.
Do you have a meeting tonight as well?
We certainly did.
Yeah, or earlier in the day, I guess, eh?
We had our 4:30 meeting today.
And Dana is the other person that goes out into the community for the Hub Online Network.
Hi, Dana. Welcome.
And does the morning show most of the time.
Sorry.
And does the morning show most of the time.
Move on to adopting the minutes of the regular council meeting of November 25th, 2019.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Business arising from delegations? Carried. Business arising from the minutes? Committee reports, Economic Development, Councillor Peters and Councillor Cougar. No. Budget Administrative Services, Councillor Peters and Councillor Cougar.
Move that we approve the closure of the office on December 19th from 9:45 until 1 p.m. so that staff can have their Christmas luncheon.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Carried. Policy and bylaw review. Myself and Councillor Peters.
I'd like to move that council give second reading to zoning amendment bylaw 808/2019.
Second.
Discussion?
She's.
Discussion? All in favor? Carried.
Move that we give third reading to zoning amendment bylaw 808/2019.
Second.
Discussion?
We take turns.
All in favor? Carried. Public Works and Community Facilities, myself and Councillor Defoe.
Nothing to report.
Villages Services and Liaison, Councillor Defoe and Councillor Cougar.
I attended an interior health table for Cache Creek, Ashcroft, and Clinton sometime last week, November 26th. No, it had to be early after that. No, it was November 26th. So they're moving forward on a new model for health in the region, and they're actually looking at a rural healthcare model finally for us. And keeping in mind that Kamloops is rural for some things, I asked them for a rural definition, and we decided that it would be under 10,000 population. So we are continuing to meet with representatives from the neighboring communities and areas. There are probably more interior health people, or as many as municipal people at the table, but I guess that's to be expected when you're talking about healthcare and how to deliver healthcare services. So we're continuing on. It was a little choppy at first, but it's starting to smooth out. And actually it's looking very promising for healthcare in our area for the first time in a very long time.
Anything further? Protective Services, myself and Councillor Cougar. Yes, ma'am.
So on Friday, Councillor Peters, myself, and CAO Dawson attended a discussion of modernizing the Emergency Preparedness Act. The province has issued a discussion paper, and SILGA, the Southern Interior Local Government Association, organized a meeting between the provincial government and the SILGA municipalities in Kamloops to meet and talk about this, and several EMBC representatives were there. They had different topics that they wanted us to discuss at tables. We went table hopping throughout the afternoon, and the surprising thing, how many people were there?
I'd say 60, 70.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It was a good turnout.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, from a lot of the small municipalities, maybe the bigger ones too, we all had the same issues. So without getting into too much detail, because I think CAO Dawson is going to prepare a more formal report after we all get our notes together. We discussed things like roadblocks to mitigation, government agency roadblocks to mitigation, unpredictable disasters that we can't plan for, the need to rebuild better after things are destroyed, and including all stakeholders in the planning, sharing planning with other municipalities, and where are we going to get the money to do all this? So that was the crux of what we discussed for several hours, and hopefully that will reflect in the act when it's tabled next year.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that, just building on one of the points that Councillor Court mentioned, there was a couple of times, I made sure to mention that they need to re-look or redesign their funding formula. For recovery, it's only, it's 80% funded by the province, 20% by the property owner or the municipality. And there is nothing in there on ability to pay. Right now, we're looking at a pretty big cost for replacing that bridge because we're paying 20%. My comment to a couple of the different presenters there was it should be based more on ability to pay. Perhaps something along the lines of based on your assessment, your property tax assessment. That is at least an indicator of how able you are to pay. The cookie cutter approach for 20% only, I mean, if you're replacing a bridge in Kamloops, they can easily afford 20%. It's not so easy for us, or for any other small municipality.
The other thing we brought up too, and being in Kamloops was perfect because they could look, had the view of the whole city from the room we were in, and I said the definition of rural needs to be readdressed because we are classed as rural with our population of 1,000, as is the city of Kamloops with their population of 80,000. And they went, really? Yep. So funding was a very common thread with pretty much every municipality that was there and every regional district. Well, we think we're bad. Imagine being a regional district and trying to recoup losses. So.
And some of the EMBC people did say that 20% was the reason why a lot of damage was never repaired because municipalities just couldn't come up with that amount of money.
Thank you for attending and bringing that information back. Anything further on protective services?
How is the fire hall roof going?
They were way more than they were on the job last week because of the weather. They have not told me of any issues or concerns. I haven't heard anything come through the office.
No, they've been up there every day this weekend, or end of last weekend today.
I planned on touching base with them either tomorrow or Wednesday, and I'll send an email around to council to give you an update.
Intergovernmental relations. Myself and Councillor Coburn. Just bring council attention to the regional district was a gold award winner in the 2018 corporate annual report competition, Marcom Awards. I just wanted to bring you up to date that they were one of, I believe, 23% of 6,500 entries.
Wow.
So, and that's pretty prestigious for our regional district to be recognized in that fashion. Also, we have a meeting with our MP Brad Viss, and I'm going to try and pull it up on my modern technology. And this could go south in a hurry. Sometime this month. How's that for narrowing it down?
Probably the 25th, huh?
December 18th at 9:30.
Here?
Yes.
9:30?
December 18th, you said?
Yeah. It'll give us an opportunity. I would like maybe council to consider one or two topics of concern, one of them being healthcare, obviously, to carry on where we left off with our MP, previous MP. And, bring him up to date on what our concerns were and how we felt that what our solution to the healthcare crisis in rural British Columbia would be. And maybe another topic that council feels strongly about. So December 18th at 9:30 here. Any further under your information? Staff reports?
Sorry, my only staff report is in camera tonight.
Thank you. Information correspondence?
And with that, receive and file the UPCM gas tax agreement community works fund payment.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. New business? Questions from the public? Quite a few. Questions from the press?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just one follow-up question regarding the anticipated, I guess, public meeting to discuss the pool and other measures I postponed till the new year.
Yes.
Okay. Are you still collecting information? Yes.
We're still hopeful that we can collect information and carry on with it early in the new year with a public meeting.
Okay. And again, Your Worship, is there any further developments on the Block Watch program that I know was discussed at the public meeting earlier this year?
I can answer that. It's been kind of put on hold given Sergeant Fitzgerald's injury and the new CO, or new sergeant, or acting sergeant that's in place, and he and I will be meeting in the new year to go over the plans for it. They are in support of it, but that's where we are at this time.
Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you. I have a motion to move into a closed session.
Second.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Do we have any anticipation of how long?
No idea. We'll try and keep them here as long as we can.
Well, no, because I have work, I need to help with Christmas wrappers. I'll have to get out of
So, 9 till about 11, I'm on the teleconference, and then sometime afternoon tomorrow,